Hi, just to continue that then, just to looking at the papers there, you can see from, the journalist, you can see a kind of I won't say a sadness, but, you know, you know, maybe sadness isn't the right word, but there is a sense that really the Irish people didn't have a choice for the change, that perhaps a lot of people were yearning for change. And I think, there's now knowness, well, I won't say knowness, but the government parties, and perhaps they had a lot on their plate in the last few years with COVID, Brexit, and to Ukraine, and God knows what's coming at us. That's the other side of it. But somebody said I'm a news junkie, and I said no. Well, no, I'm actually very interested in the world around us, what's going on. I like to know what's happening, and I'm interested in current affairs and world affairs. And I find sometimes there's a lot of people that are interested in these sorts of things, and they just want to talk about what's going on in their own family. There's no interest in what's going on, abroad, or maybe in the Northern Ireland. I was always very interested in that, what's going on there. And you wouldn't find anyone really to discuss these things, because they didn't have any interest in what's going on outside their own small circle. And I'm not saying everybody's like that, but that's becoming more and more. Perhaps it's the pressures of life that are causing people to be more insular. They say that a lot about Americans, that they're very insular, and I wonder are Ireland becoming more and more like that. And I think I'm encouraging our Irish higher education to desemesterize, a lot of the courses, to give students a little bit of time to engage with politics and engage with communities and society that they're not doing because of the huge pressure, on them from the semesterization. And I really think we need to look at that. And I've been trying to advocate for that for a long time, and just say we should desemesterize a lot of our third level education to give students time. I mean, how many students, there was a point made by one of the people, how many students got time to vote because it was a Friday? So I think it was unfair to students that they weren't. It wasn't a Saturday, to be honest. I do. But anyway, that's gone. That issue is gone. It was very interesting to see, the way the pollsters looked at how people from 18 to 25 voted, who they voted for. And I wonder what percentage of that actually voted, what percentage of the people who were eligible to vote actually voted. And there seems to be a disconnect or an apathy there. Or, well, if it's Friday, maybe, I think they should have got a day off from their university to go to. I think they should have, got a day off from the university. I mean, like, the schools got a day off. Why shouldn't the universities give them a day off? Give them a right to exercise their vote. Anyway, it's too late now. It's too late now. So the other alternative is, there's a little bit of a sort of a sense of, it's more of the same, and, it's going to be more struggling, more suffering, nobody's listening, nobody cares, etc., etc. But there is an opportunity in the programme for the government to listen to what they have been heard going all around the country, and to factor all that into a programme of government which looks after people properly, and puts priority on people, not losing jobs here, there, and everywhere, but it has to look after the squeezed middle. It has to look after, it's particularly clear for me from the person, with the, that highlighted not just problems with disability, but it highlighted a culture that doesn't care about people, who are powerless. You know what I mean? If you are powerless, like a very person with a disabled child, people will just pull away from that family. They don't want to know that person's problems, and that family are left very isolated, socially isolated. Discriminating is a very subtle way. People don't want to go there because there's so many problems with that family. So this family isn't just suffering from, the struggle, the day-to-day. There's also suffering from kind of insidious discrimination by society, towards people that have severely disabled children. I don't want that problem. I have too many of my own problems, and that is widespread. So when you're looking at, the issue of disability, it affects families in many ways, that perhaps aren't recognised by policymakers. And I think we need to examine that. But I think it points it shines a light on how vulnerabilities or people that have problems are treated by society. That's just a particular case, but I think it highlights a lot. There's a lot in that you could take and say we need to do a lot more about protecting people who are marginalised by society for all kinds of reasons. And you could say the squeezed middle are marginalised because they're paying so much, and people on their own. All of this, there's an awful lot of hidden discrimination there, that and marginalisation of people like that. And I think we have to put people first, and people. There is a lot of concern that the squeezed middle are carrying too much of the burden, and I think the government needs to put that into So I think two things. One is the disability sector, but it's the people with the families with disabled sector, and then how do you help families who are isolated, from society by other families who don't care. And there are other people that perhaps are in similar situations or not similar, where the same thing happens. The families unit don't care about other families. Now, that's a very strong statement, but I'm not saying all families are like that. But there's more and more of a culture of it, and perhaps people take the view, well, if nobody cares about, I have too much on my plate with my own family, I can't care for anybody else's family. Even they can, they feel they can't. This is the problem. How do you get people to become more community minded, more civic minded, more looking after their neighbours? People would say nobody calls on their neighbours anymore, nobody bothers about their neighbours, etc., etc. So there's a whole culture of this. It's all about me, and how do we tackle this culture? And I think we need policies to address these systemic issues. And I don't think it's going to be easy to do it, but I mean it can start incrementally. But I definitely think should we have a minister for the nobody cares minister? How do you address the nobody cares culture in Ireland and elsewhere? This is all about me culture. Maybe we should have a minister for nobody cares, it's all about me culture, and maybe that would highlight difficulties. And also issues with mental health were raised, and how poorly that issue is kind of hidden under the carpet and not dealt with. And I feel we need a better wording, like for brain health, because brain health now is a huge issue. Protecting your brain from brain diseases like dementia, Alzheimer's, all of that. It's shocking. Obesity and diabetes,